become champions.
Good evening and welcome to Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast, episode number 149. Myself, Mark, tonight. I'm joined with Terence, and we've got Paul back tonight as well. Paul's trying to pick up some match time to get himself back to full fitness, so they two are on the now. I think maybe JFP will be coming on later on as well. But just the usual spiel. Some shout outs to some of the guys in the forum and that. No, I did the thing about the links, didn't I? The links to our forum and everything's in the description box below. Our forum or Discord, you name it, that's all below. The links also there. That's our 7th year we're collecting money for it's my local food bank, the Hamilton Food Bank. We broke the £1,000 barrier last night, which is absolutely fantastic. That's us collected more than £11,000 over the last 7. This is our 7th year of doing it. So everybody that's donated to that, huge thanks. A few shout outs to some of the lads on the forum, old Tim Alloy, Richie, a Glasgow Green, Welshie. I don't know if Jabber's coming on here tonight. We'll see who we've got in the chat there as well. Grotbags evening. WPM2269. Thanks very much for coming in, mate. That's a new name for me. Northampton Tim, nice to see you, mate. Kev, you too, pal. Martin, nice to see you as well. Henke, Bobby, Pulse Boy. Greg, thanks very much for coming in again, lads. I hope you enjoyed what we're doing. What can we say about that today? Absolutely. I've got worse as the days went on. I spoke to Mikey right evening, Rod. Thanks very much for coming in, mate. I spoke to Mikey right after the game, and I was a wee bit. We've got injuries, we've got this, but see as it's went on, it's got to me even more. I'm absolutely raging about it now. Just the performance, it was absolutely shocking. Abysmal, that second half performance for any Celtic team to go and play like that. Yeah, Paul, thanks very much again, Terence, for coming in. Evening, lads.
No worries. Go on, Paul, take it away.
Jeez, man, I haven't been here for a while, but I've been keeping an eye on the matches, Mark. But what you said there, I don't know, it doesn't look like a Celtic team, does it? You know, this result has been coming. You know, we're too slow. When you look at been looking at a few stats there the last couple of weeks, and when you have Palma and Yang have 4 assists between the two of them since they started coming into the team, we're just not creating chances. I've seen the form page then, and people were saying we've spent 7 million on Rocky and Lagerbeekel. Why aren't they playing? And one of the reasons that Lagerbeekel hasn't been playing is something to do with the style Rodgers wants him to play. His stats, Mark, are 9 out of 10 the long ball, which doesn't suit Rodgers. His passing range for long distance is exceptional, but his short range then is very low, which Rodgers wants. But then you see Phillips in the team today, and he was trying the long ball, and he was giving the ball away 9 times out of 10 when he was trying that long pass, and his short passing was ridiculous. And like he's supposed to be. We heard Rodgers say last week that what he brings to the dressing room is his experience, his thing, and not seeing that experience on the pitch today, are we? You know,
I thought it was a really, really poor day. It was as if he'd never seen a footballer before in his life.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to, I'd say that you've got to just, there's only 3 weeks or something left to go in his deal. I'd cut that short and just let him get back down the road to now.
Mm-hmm. Like 5 starts, Lagerbeek started, and 5 wins in the league we had with him. You know, is he, does Rodgers not, is this a way of Rodgers saying to the board, I don't like your signings? You know, I'm going to play Phillips, who I know isn't good, instead of Lagerbeek. And I know they've been injured, they're going to get up to match fitness, but sure, they're up to match fitness by now, you know.
But I mean, even down to that, Paul, you can't put all that day down to Phillips's
Oh no, without doubt. You know,
Mark, saying that
you could hammer the whole team today.
Saying that, I think maybe Phillips's performance was maybe a bit of a catalyst for the full team getting into a meltdown, because the way he was performing at the back, Scales. I like Scales, and I still think he's proved that he can be a good enough squad player for us. But he's not going to days as a first choice. Do you know what I mean? But like say AJ Scales, Taylor, he's regressed as well. I've backed him for years, but Taylor, I'm fully behind it now that Taylor needs replaced. But if you're playing with, are they worrying about Phillips? Is that kind of worry that he's having a stinker of a game running through the team? I mean, I've said it to a couple of people. That for me, that's the worst 45 minutes I've seen for Celtic. They were 3-0 down with Neil Lennon up there at Kilmarnock. I mean, when was that? 2012 or something. I mean, Neil Lennon was going to get sacked at half time. But that day, that for me is a kind of level with that for like a 45 minutes of football. That's one of the worst 45 minutes of football I've ever seen for a Celtic team, ever in my life. I know we've put pumpings in Europe and that, but that's another. We've spoke about the differences, do you know what I mean? In money, spendings, whatever it comes down to. I'm talking about like domestically, the actual football we played, and not a man showed up in that midfield. Not one single man showed up in that midfield in the second half. It was absolutely no guts, no fight, no nothing. Absolute shambles of a team. So it was.
But it was coming, Mark. It was coming. You know, before I say something, I was down with my brothers and my nephews, asked a shout out to them. So obviously say hello to Killian, Ben, and obviously the soccer star of the family, Luke Casey, who scored a couple of goals there yesterday for his under-9s team. So well done, Lukey.
Well done, Luke. We shout out to Killian and who was it? Who was the other one there?
And Killian, Ben and Luke.
Killian, Ben and Luke. Hail, wee men. Keep going for the goals there, son. But Mark, this has been on the cards. Like, I mean, Celtic have been knocked out of the League Cup by Kilmarnock. Celtic have drawn at home with St. Johnstone. They've drawn at home with Motherwell. They've drawn it away at Hibs. They've got absolutely annihilated in Europe. The standard of football is, yes, you have the Hibs game there a week or two ago where it was decent, but Celtic concede goals. Celtic regularly concede goals, and they concede bad goals. And the problem with today is they don't take a couple of chances when it comes, and as soon as Killy get a chance, they score. And even like, I didn't see a huge amount of the game because I was telling you I was out with the little fella, but I watched extended highlights and I watched a lot of it. The second half highlights were basically just Kilmarnock attacking and Celtic trying to defend. I mean, the first goal is the ball's played in and Phillips puts it in his own net. But the second goal, your man just runs off Callum McGregor. No one picks him up. He runs like, this is a guy running inside the Celtic box. He's not running from the half a line. Callum McGregor, for some reason, just stops. Phillips doesn't see him running behind him. Like, the guy takes a shot from, 7 or 8 yards out, and there's no one on him. No one on him. You know, it's potential. Joe Hart came out like a hologram, didn't he? The ball just kind of went through him, didn't it?
It did, yeah. But like, even those times there, Mark, where there was a few balls coming in and Joe Hart's coming, and I don't understand this punching thing unless you can actually punch, and he clearly can't do that. So I don't understand why he doesn't try catch the thing. I really don't. It boggles the mind. But this, like, I mean, we've all been saying, or people have been saying that the other crowd of the city aren't that great. Well, at the minute, they're a hell of a lot better than we are. I mean, that performance is champ. Like, the Celtic team, to get outplayed in midfield by Kilmarnock. If that's not a red alert, if that doesn't send issues through you as a manager, then you shouldn't be there. And the other side of it as well, Mark, if you look at the board as a whole, the club as a whole have a lot to answer for, because Paul alluded to it there a few moments ago. If you look at the summer signings, and the summer is where you do your business, not really January, because January you don't have the bodies. It's the summer. Palma is the only one you could say that is anyway related within reason to it's going to be a first team starter week in, week out. They've got the two boys on the bench that, again, Paul said, that are 8 million between them combined, and they're playing Phillips. And Phillips hasn't played one good game I've seen for Celtic. Not one
Phillips
good game.
looks like a fella who won a raffle ticket that could get an appearance for Celtic.
He looks like, see that Joel Dommett, the comedian that wears a wee brown suit and that. That's who he kept reminding me the day on the park. But he looks like somebody's playing in Soccer Aid or something like that.
That's what I was going to say. It's like a charity match. He's like a guy in a charity. He's like a guy in a charity match that he's really an actor in real life, or he's a singer, and he's actually getting a chance to play, like maybe Jared Butler or something like that. He's having a chance to have a game there, like, because it's actually mind-boggling to watch him play and think that this guy was playing for Liverpool. He played Champions League for Liverpool, and like when he signed, everyone was like, "Oh, lovely, that's a good signing." But like, if I was the other two lads, and he's playing ahead of me, then you kind of have to ask the manager, in a sense, well, why are these two guys even at the club? Like, one of them should be gone. One of them should go, get sold, because if they can't get on ahead of him, then God help him. Like, because this, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but when Celtic are relying on, and I know he might have had okay today, but when Celtic are relying on David Turnbull, Mikey Johnson, James Forrest, I like Greg Taylor, but I know he did a shocker. Greg Taylor, even Liam Scales, who was one of our own and generally has played quite solid. When Celtic are relying on these kind of guys to win you a game, when James Forrest has been brought on as a sub to win a game, you're sorry, you're in trouble. Like, if that's the depth of your squad, the squad is weaker now this year than it was last year. Like,
but see if everybody was fit, but terms, Mikey Johnson probably wouldn't be getting near the squad. Do you know what I mean? Maid is out injured, Abad is out injured, stuff like that. You've got to take that into consideration. But what that's shown is that a lot of the players that we would have said,
in the squad,
there's a lot more than we would have maybe said before. Do you know what I mean? We say, they're good enough in Scotland, but maybe not in the step up to Europe. But we're finding out a lot of them was actually not going to be good enough even in Scotland. Even in Stephen McGonigal and Des, thanks for coming in, mate.
That's a very, very fair point, Mark, and I appreciate that. But Abad has been pretty much injured since the start of the year. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, Celtic should have strength in depth. That guys are good enough. Like if Mikey Johnson is good enough to be at Celtic, he should be good enough to be able to beat Kilmarnock. Not himself, I'm saying. The same way with David Turnbull, the same way with, if it's Matt O'Reilly, the same way with Callum McGregor, the same way with anyone. I keep saying it before, the players are playing with Celtic for a reason, and the players are playing with Kilmarnock for a reason. Celtic are always going to lose a game here and there, and we understand that. Anyone who doesn't think that about their team is in a different mindset. But they were played off the park, like, in the second half. You know, they were played off the park in the second half. Like, I mean, if you were a foreigner and you didn't know which side was which, and you changed jerseys, and you said, "Oh, that's Celtic there," Kilmarnock could have worn the Celtic jerseys in the second half, like, and if you said to someone that's Celtic, they'd believe you. They destroyed Celtic in the second half, like.
I forgot his name now. He's a wee guy, Armstrong, tore us to shreds. That full second half. No, I mean,
but he's done that before, the back.
He was bullying our team.
Are we actually seeing the limitations of Taylor now? Because under Ange, you had Dyson Meada there who would track back and kind of cover Taylor, and there'd be kind of two left backs there when Meada is there. I know that when Rodgers came in, Meada kind of didn't push back that much, and now that Meada's out of the team, a lot of the goals we're conceding are coming down Taylor's side of the pitch. You know?
I mean, I've stuck up for Taylor. Everybody that's listened, and you two know it all along. I've always stuck up for him, but this season he's just
even
not
his
looking the
passing
part
mark
as
has
well.
kind of regressed.
Aye.
Like,
But even his attitude, Paul, that was one of the things I always said about him. He always gave you 100%, and if there was a wee bit of needle in the match for him being a wee guy, he was always putting the physical. He wasn't shying away from the physical side of the game and stuff like that. And that was the thing today, right? You can have a bad day at the office, and you can lose a game. You can be outplayed with so-called smaller teams and all. But what the really unacceptable thing for me was that Celtic get outfought today. Totally, just across the board. The team just looked weak. Somebody said that Kev put powder puff in midfield. I mean, if we started this podcast, we've sat here and spoke about how much we need its physical presence across the board in the team, because we're not that physical when we're defending. We've not got I keep saying it, I'm a kind of believer. I like a ball playing mid centre half and a big muscly head case that just go in for it. Do you know what I mean? That's my kind of ideal partnership for playing that. And we've no. Taylor just went right. I'm not even saying he went after the boil. I think that's him. He's just peaked in. He needs to be replaced to be first choice. If he wants to hang about to try and fight for the place and be back up, that's up to him. If no, we just move him on. But I think for me, and that, as I said, I've backed him to the Hulk. You know that. But for me, Taylor's time's done. And Scales is just.
But does it say a lot though? Going back to his game, and we're talking about squad in depth, and they're saying a lot now about our squad in depth. If Radisson is coming on instead of Taylor, instead of our backup left back in Barnaby, you know, that last week Radisson came on for Taylor.
Aye.
You know,
is that Barnaby? He's never a Celtic player either, isn't he?
No, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Man. That's what I'm saying. Like,
£4 million or something on him too.
You know, like you look at Celtic, and when players are fit, we have a good starting 11, maybe 12, 13 players. But after that, there's a lot of deadwood within that squad. You know, like we don't even have a decent backup keeper if anything happened to Joe Hart. Joe Hart isn't covered himself in glory either this season. You know?
But a lot of it is when the Paul is. Sorry, Mark, go on.
No, you go there.
I was just going to say the problem that I see with a lot of it as well, Paul, is that it's all well and Celtic are all well and good when they're if they're at home or they're 3 or 4 up. It's all rosy. But it's like Mark alluded to there a while ago when you asked them to fight. A lot of guys go hiding. You like how many Celtic guys, if that was, and I'm not saying he was at the end of his time, but if he was slightly in his problem, there's no way that Scott Brown wouldn't have wound up with a booking today if he was playing. There's no way Neil Lennon wouldn't have wound up with a booking. Alan Thompson, Paul Lambert, even back in to one of the best midfielders you've ever seen, Paul McStay. They wouldn't have allowed that today. They would not have allowed that today to happen. They might have lost the game, but they wouldn't have allowed the attitude that was on the pitch. Players
that's something I've mentioned before. McGregor.
But is that something, Mark, that Cal McGregor is lacking in the captaincy? Is that mentality to get the players going? You know.
Well, one of the things me and Mikey were talking about earlier on was when McGregor, the tackle when he went down, it looked as if he'd picked up a kind of wee knock and he would get up, shaking his leg, trying to walk off.
For fuck's sake.
See when he was in the deck, one of the Kilmarnock players was at him and laughing in that, and McGregor just kind of sat there like a daffy boy and took it. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine Scott Brown? I mean, mind, who was it? 4 guys out of Aberdeen.
Scott Brown,
and he got up, puffed his chest out and laughed at it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something about the teams. You tell me, right? Who's the leader of that team on the park?
There isn't one.
There isn't one. I mean,
no, there isn't one.
McGregor for me is no my type of captain, right? I can see why you.
Mark, is this right? This is something me and you discussed.
Wait a minute. But see if KT hadn't bought it, KT would have been a better captain than Cal McGregor, because KT leads by example, vocal in the park, shows you the kind of, even if Celtic were 5-0 down, KT's giving you 100% during the game and that. McGregor for me, he's not that type of captain. And if you've got that type of captain, it's a kind of quieter type of guy. Then you're looking at your big hairy arse centre backs to be the kind of drive. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Mark, that me and you kind of, and Terence and Chug the podcast when the last 2 years we were kind of letting our manager take control of our signings, and he was suiting players to buy into his system. A manager who didn't believe in physical players because he said we have the ball so much, we didn't need physical players in our team. We didn't need that type of player. And now we have a different manager in. And for me, the scouting system still is identifying players who play to an Ange's system. And Brendan Rodgers always kind of had that physical voice in his teams. Even his strikers were kind of players, Mark, who would hold up the ball for you and bring in players around him. Rodgers doesn't have these type of players that we know Rodgers can do with, you know.
I mean, we're kind of thought the move for that, and Didi, you made that and Didi for Leicester and stuff. We all, as you said, we always thought that would be, Paul, but maybe that's one of the positions that he identified before he came in, and it's just not been filled. They're the Bishop, and evening, JFP, how you doing? Nice to see you. If you come on, John, I'll put the link out. Anybody else I will say good evening to you. Love it. Nice to see you again. Thanks very much. Des, I don't know if I gave you a shout, mate.
But it's what they're buying, Paul. Celtic seem to clearly have a template that they go, we're going to buy players from 3 million to 5 million. No one else. Generally 3 to 5 million. We're going to buy 5 or 6 of them and hope maybe 1 or 2 of them come good. Because they can't say that isn't the template, because it was a template hit they had last year. The only difference they had last year, the year before last, when the Spurs manager came in, is he knew 3 or 4 of the players really, really well. He knew, obviously, Hitate, he knew Maeda, he knew Kyogo. He knew them. But Celtic got Carter Vickers and they got Jota. But they were like when you buy something and you can return it after 30 days if you don't like it. Celtic got them on loans and they proved good, and then they were able to do the deal. If they were no good, Celtic would have sent them back. Like, you're talking about a club, and I repeat myself so much on here, people must be sick of listening to it. This is a club that have spent no more than 9 million in one foul swoop on a player. Mm-hmm. And then people are scratching their heads why they struggle in Europe, why they struggle at times. Like, we're struggling in Scotland. In Scotland, like, this team, as Marcus said it umpteen times, they should be the Paris Saint-Germain of Scotland. But they should be running away with the league most years. Like, the odd time you're going to lose a league, fair enough. But like, they're making a joke of it. Like, they're buying these players. As you said, look how much Deadwood is in the club. Like, that Kwan or Kyong fella, whatever his name is, he hasn't kicked the ball. He hasn't kicked the ball. Tillo hasn't kicked the ball. There's so many guys there that they're going, oh, we'll buy him, he's 3 million. We'll buy him, he's 4 million. We'll buy him, he's 2.5 million. It's like, it's literally like you're throwing darts. It's like when you were a young fella and you picked out the winner in the Grand National. You go, oh, okay, close my eyes and I'll put a pin in that and I'll go for number 7. That's all it is like.
You there, John?
Yep.
Aye, thanks for coming on again, John. Aye, we can hear you fine. Aye, thanks for coming on again, bud.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Aye, John.
Bad.
How you doing, Tel?
Good, mate. Good, and yourself?
Living the dream.
I love it.
Living the dream. Did that sound believable there, or do I need to work on my delivery, do you think?
No, it's grand. It's actually the line everyone says where I work. Well, how are you there? Oh yeah, living the dream.
I used to work with a guy. We were in a drawing office years ago. I've actually stolen, it's not my line, but he used to come in the morning and he'd say, "Good morning, Glenn. How you doing?" He'd say, "Living the dream." He would just keep walking, right? just keep walking, didn't even look at you. He would say, "Living the dream." Sometimes I can't believe my own luck. And he would just walk past you, and there was actually a guy asked to get his drawing board moved away from him because he was depressing him. Good to hear you all anyway. See, just on that subject you're on before, while it's in my head, we've been kind of talking stats the last wee while in terms of the team. But one of the stats I thought was really interesting. There's a couple of real maths is my kind of thing as well, but there's a couple of real loonies Celtic supporters really. You wouldn't want to go for a pint with them, eh? Stats is all they do, eh? All sorts of stuff. Half of them I don't understand, but one of them was our success in the recruitment market relative to the various price bands. You know, it was something like our success rate around about that 1 to 3 million bracket is just about zilch, whereas round about that kind of 5, 6, 7, 8 bracket million, the success rate has been genuinely kind of fairly impressive. So I think it goes. Nobody's wanting Celtic. Nobody was wanting marquee signings in the summer window. Nobody was wanting. We're no daft. We know Celtic can't go and spend 10, 15 million pound in a player, but you know we had 9 1 to 2 millions. Where really what we were looking for, as we've said repeatedly, was 3, 4, 7 to 8 millions. That doesn't guarantee it. We know it doesn't guarantee it. Barkas tells you that. There's loads of players tells you that, but you've got a better chance. And when you look at the statistics, I can't remember what the figures were, but our recruitment success is doing it something like 25% or something generally across the board. It's it should be enough. Let's get Mark Lowe plugged before we go any further. So anyway, just when you were talking about that, anyway, I thought I'd throw that up. Well,
it's the same old story, but John, you get what you pay for.
Pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
And it's terms. I'll steal Terrence's line here and say, you spend £4 million 20 years ago. It's not £4 million a day. I think it was James Forrester read his blog earlier, and he's saying that in the day's money, Scott Brown would have cost us £7 million. See the way inflation goes in that, and it's like, I mean, we're going to talk about him obviously, John, because do you know what I mean? Guys like Lewis Ferguson.
Yep.
He's not playing with Celtic. I'll never know.
John McGinn. Even back to John McGinn.
We were having
Doig for Hibs and players like that. They were right under our nose. That Hickey left Hearts after 20 odd league games.
You know, we're not even capturing. We're not even capturing the best of Scottish talent. Never mind the best of talent across Europe. You know, Hickey, Lewis Ferguson. You know you're not even capturing the best of John McGinn. Still, there's loads of conflicting
even McKenna. I mean, Rodgers wanted McKenna the first time he was here.
100%.
I wouldn't be surprised to see McKenna coming in.
Right,
and again, I don't know if you know much about him, John. I'm going with Mikey. Mikey's saying he plays well with Scotland and he's playing well with Forest. So why no bring McKenna in?
He had a kind of a bust off his Steve Cooper in Nottingham Forest at the moment, so he's not even in the squad at the moment for Nottingham Forest.
He's been told to find a new club in January. Yeah. He's only got 6 months left in his contract.
Yeah. He's left-sided as well, isn't he?
Exactly. That's me and Mikey were talking about him. That's what I said. He's homegrown. He's left-footed. It would be an ideal set. Maybe a Rick Brown success, but he's got to be a better squad player than your Nat Phillips or whoever it is.
Many
still there.
How many centre halves have we got? You know, and I said it before the game today. And I broke record. I'm getting fed up listening myself, but and I'm not talking about. I think you'd made the comment with who would you drop for them, but the bottom line is that Phillips. Phillips was ahead of 2 centre halves that you've paid collectively £7 million for. Back to the 2 starts, guys. I don't know if you came across these 2 guys. You will have done. You ain't listen to as much stuff as I'm probably listening. I'm obviously not working hard enough that I can listen to mere crap about Celtic. But the guy, there's an American guy, Juco James, and then there's the Scottish boy. Boys. What's the Scottish guy's game? Alan
Morrison.
You wouldn't want to go for a pint with the 2 of them, eh?
But see, it's interesting reading if you're into put some amount of work into it.
Brilliant.
There's something in Phillips' loan deal, Mark, that he has to play so many minutes, and that's why he's playing.
I think so. I do think that. I think that's got to be part of it. I heard even Kev saying Alan Morrison.
Duco James did an analysis of the data for the players we signed there, and the guys never usually far. I mean, the stats don't tell you everything, eh? You know the old story. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics, as they say, eh?
Aye.
But the couple of worrying ones you threw out there, is when he looked at. I agree, Bobby, there's for anoraks. I do.
That's a belter in it. They've got fun in their anorak.
It's the profiles he done on the comment he made. He said when they look at Lagerbielke's, the stats that Celtic would have been presented with for Lagerbielke, and Kev made a good point today as well. He's been rated. There would be no reason to understand why Celtic would sign him, man. And he's up for Player of the Year. He's making progress a bit. Talking in terms of the role he has to play with Celtic, where you're needing the centre defenders with pace. But when he looked at the stats for Nawrocki, the big question mark there was, would he have the stature, would he have the strength to play in Scotland? He said when he looked at the stats for Quan, he says he would need to win a ticket. He'd need to win a raffle to have played for, to get an opportunity to play for Celtic. Now, we've only seen him once. But I mean, our recruitment has been like it's been like Ryan Christie shooting. It's erratic, to say the least. Now, and the reason I'm homing in on this point, see, before you analyse the game today, I mean, the Phillips will go back to where he came from. That's the least of your worries. That's the least of your problems. Taylor, least of your worries. Joe Hart, least of your worries. Big problem, fucking Matt Lowell. He's the man. He's the man we need to strengthen in January. But he's the man that's going to be charged with it. I think it was Brian that asked today, and I think it was Ray. He says, do you think, or did I think that Rodgers has come in here, no had any input into these players, and then now analysed them and thought they're no good enough? That's exactly what I think. Worse than that, there's something still no stacking up with me. I watched Rodgers' post-match interview, and I don't know what to make it. There's almost it was almost devoid of reaction.
It's like what he was saying last week, JP, that the players weren't good enough, and then he's saying, "Oh, we've players coming back from injury." And does that say like when these players come back, we're not going to be signing no players or something like that?
When he came back at first, they said, "This is a different club for having a left." We've got all the bits in place now. The point I made in the forum last week, it's one thing walking down the corridor and looking at all the names on the door saying we've got a data analyst, we've got a head of recruitment, we've got a sports science, but who's in their rooms? Who's in their rooms? Now, how it's beginning to look at me is that when Rodgers has got here and he's starting to look at who's occupying these rooms. And the ultimate proof of the pudding there is the 9 that they produced in the summer transfer window. I'm starting to think I've been sold a fucking pup here. This is not what I thought I came into here.
Do you think JFP just
these 2 minutes turns, bud?
Yeah.
Evening, Callum. Thanks very much for coming in, mate. Nice to see you. Joseph Agnew. Thanks again, mate. Nice to see you in too. James McGrory, thanks very much, mate. There, Dr. Strangelove in too. Great to see you in again, Doctor. Sorry, dear, just
no, mate, no worries, man.
Nice to be nice, you know what I mean?
100%. The 2 points I just be curious to think. I think the first one, when you were talking about the players earlier on, the Scottish players, I said this to Mark before. It's huge snobbery. That's all it is. Celtic would rather sign a Portuguese fellow who's involved with Benfica, who hasn't kicked the ball with Benfica or Sporting Lisbon centre back, rather than signing a Scott McKenna, because everyone's like, "Oh, you can't be signing a fella from Aberdeen. Oh, he'd be no good. We need to sign." It's snobbery for half the boys when they don't sign them in Scotland, in my opinion. And the second point I would say is, I don't know this. This is purely a question I'm asking. Do you think that with Mark Lawwell that he's been told, you can only sign you're the scout or whatever, but I need you to look at players only between 3 million and 5 million, no more. No, I'm not defending him by any stretch of imagination, but do you think he's been given that basically that template as well to be told, no, you don't look at £10 million players, we don't go in that market, or we don't look at £8 million players. Your bracket is 3 to 5, maybe 6 at a push. I don't know. Would you think he's told that?
In that case, then, though, Terence, do you think maybe Brendan Rodgers was kind of deceived by the board when he came in?
100%. He shouldn't be there anyway, Paul. He shouldn't be there anyway, but that's another question.
I don't know if that translates to Scottish to Irish, but that's exactly what I meant. I said he's been sold a pup. That's I've never understood what was in this for Brendan Rodgers. We've had this discussion. I didn't understand what was in, but Brendan Rodgers, if I'm sitting there and I'm Brendan Rodgers, I'm thinking, you know what, I can't get up there and do any better than I did the first time. There was a guy who misunderstood my post the other way. He was taking this as I think he thought I was having an injury love in. I've never even mentioned the man's name since he left, nor have I listened to anything he said, nor have I watched a Spurs game, nor remotely interested in him or his jumper. So it's but the if he's sitting there, he's thinking, man, they loved Big Angie. They were playing some football under him at a period in the poster there. I said initially we were a period where we were dire under the Spurs manager as well. But he's got to be thinking, I can't do any better than I done the first time. They love the Spurs manager. Half of them don't even fucking like me. Never mind loving the Spurs manager. I can't better what he did. The only thing I was left with at that point was to make an impact in Europe. And if that's the case, the board let him down massively in the summer transfer window. And probably the only other bit that I've come up with since then was a genuine desire on Rodgers' part to make amends
to come back to the club,
to Celtic support. I think he had. My understanding is he's got members of his family that have spoken to him. You know, I think when you get a bit older as well, you know, you might be sitting there and you're the wrong side of 50 thinking I've got 50 million in the bank, you know, but half the world thinks I'm my family and half of Glasgow thinks I'm I'll not say the word there.
I'm nearly kind, John, reading between the lines. I think Rodgers expected players to be brought in, and for one reason or another, whether it's Peter Lil's fault or Baby Lil's fault or Brendan's fault or the other players' fault, for some reason they didn't materialise.
But what one is it, man? When he came back, he said, just back to the rooms, and he said that the club now has all the bits in place that in sports side. We're assuming he talks about that recruitment, sports science, data analysts, only the above.
Go back to the Croatian keeper. It signed for 5 different teams every day. You turn the internet on. Do you know what I mean? They strung teams along, and Celtic were in contact with him. Do you know what I mean? So whatever reason, was it down to money? Was it down to whatever? But it's still, I know what you're saying, John. But Celtic need to not let players and agents do that to us. We can't drag our heels over the kind of deals anymore. If a guy does not want to sign for us, but right, we're moving on. We're not waiting to the end of the very window in the hope that he's going to sign for us. I mean, I'm not making excuses for him, but for what Rodgers said, what you're talking about, what Rodgers said in his first interviews and that, I just think that he expected, and probably even Celtic had said, that we'll try and get these certain players in that you're looking for, and for one reason or another, it's no happened, and that's kind of put the kind of kibosh on things.
Could it be over, like, that deals were kind of already done and dusted, and that the next 2 transfers could be Brendan Rodgers transfers, Mark?
Well, see, the majority of I've said this before. I've said this before, Paul. See, no matter who was the Celtic manager this year, you'd have still signed the majority of the signings we made in the summer.
They were done, yeah.
They were to me, they were football department signings. Do you get what I mean? They weren't, I mean, Yang wasn't meant to be in the first team.
No,
you just need to watch him playing. But again, injuries have forced us to have to give the guy game time, and it's definitely not working out for him. Do you know what I mean? A lot of them were maybe not meant to be brings right into the first team straight in.
Rodgers has said he said that only. Well, we've got all the bits in place now. We evidently don't have all the bits in place, or we don't have the right people and the right roles behind the scenes in terms of recruitment, data analysis, whatever it is. He said conflictingly, he said that he only coaches the players that the board gives him, and he's also said that he rubber stamps all the signing. Who the fuck one is it?
Mm-hmm.
Can't be the two of them.
I know. That gets back to that when we signed that Marines Fred. Everybody, Rodgers came out and said that he didn't. What was it? We've got enough wingers or something like that.
Wingers.
But then in an interview, Fred said he spoke to Brendan Rodgers on the phone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's. I mean, we've been here before with some of Brendan Rodgers, what he says in public.
We've said this the last time. We know he tells porky pies, don't we?
Aye. So I mean, no big club gives full control. We've spoken about it a million times. No big club gives full control to a manager to sign players. Because when the manager leaves, you're up. Do you know what I mean? But they've got to have an input on it. And as you said as well earlier, John, talking about the money side of things and that, I don't see why Celtic can't go in the summer and buy a £12 million striker. I honestly don't, right? And suppose he's coming in and taking 65 grand a week.
Is that the price of this kind of? Is that Swedish fella they're looking at? He's around
that Danish boy, $8.5 million.
Yeah,
he's terrible. Have you seen his stats?
I did. Yeah.
9.2 million players would have been the same as 3.6 million pound players. Albeit the wages is probably higher. The more valuable player is probably the wages is higher, but 3.6 is the same as 9.2, isn't it?
Exactly. That's the
But you
thing
have to-
about it.
But you have to speculate to accumulate.
Look when we done it with Edward. So I mean, we spent 9 million in Edward. We made a good turn on him, and we got a good turn out of him as a player. There's no reason why Celtic shouldn't be trying to buy players that are going to make that difference. Go out and sign a striker at 10, 12 million pounds, and if you want 60 grand a week, give him it. We can afford it. That's part of it. I'll upset the other players. But how Cal McGregor's in 35 grand a week and Greg Taylor's in 18. Do you know what I mean? What's the difference whether somebody's in 60 grand a week? If he's your main striker, your star man, that's why he's getting 60 grand a week.
In terms of saying back to that speculating to accumulate, it's speculation, Terence, I've said this repeatedly, speculation when you're spending money you've no got. See what's happening on the other side of the Clyde there? That's speculation. Yep. It's investment when you're spending money, when you're sitting with 72 million in the bank, it's investment. I know we're entitled to our own opinions in terms of even the guys on the forum, but I cannot believe that we've still, one, get guys still defending the board, and two, that you've got any faith remotely in Martin's ability to go and spend money effectively in the January transfer window.
The only time I was thinking there after the today result, and the only time I kind of see Celtic get their act together and buy decent players is when we lose the league.
That's exactly right.
You know, we did it for Angie's first season. Second season, Ange came in. The signings were shocking. You know, it seems to be kind of a domino effect that keeps up. We lose the league, we buy decent players, and then you have one good season of decent players. Then the second season, then it just goes back to the way it was as before.
But I slightly disagree with that one.
That's back to the board react rather than proactive. That it's just reactive. Yeah, Welshie there. Even Welshie, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you in, bud.
Because I said you've had bankers on record as saying that success was just was getting to the Champions League. I'm convinced Daddy and Baby Loyal's aspirations, they couldn't be further away from the support aspirationally. But I mean, if that's the case, fucking tell us. I was auditing a company the other day there, and they've got just what we're talking about. I remember I put the post up the other week there. Where's the 3-year business plan? By the time that AGM was an absolute disgrace. Fucking men in their position cracking jokes about Rangers. Say, tell us what's the general direction of travel here? You know, what's the goal? What's the objectives? That company as well, the business plans are laid out for everything they're going to do, be it environmentally, financially. You know, take it environmentally. We want to be net zero by 2040. Okay, right? We're going to buy 20 electric vehicles next year. We're going to buy 25 the following. So what's Celtic's? See, if you're going to buy Celtic money, see what's your business plan? What's that got one? You'd be saying, what's the goal here? Is the goal to get out the last 16? Is the goal just to stay ahead of the Rangers?
Look, see, next year in the chat, see with this reorganisation of the Champions League, this for me is it's not none of this getting into the last 16 or falling into Europa League or that. There are 8 games. The first 8 in what the first 8 teams all go automatically through. Then the next 8 all kind of have a playoff round between each other to see who gets through, and then the bottom 8 or something, they get popped right out. That'll be Celtic have got to be aiming to win that middle tier to at least get into the playoff round of that. To see if
They're nowhere near that, though, Mark. They're nowhere near that.
But Terence, see this. You're going to have teams like the top 4 teams. They're all going to be in that league as well.
Although I know, but Celtic haven't won a game. Celtic haven't won a Champions League game in 15 matches. 15 matches.
That's got to be the Rangers for a club like Celtic.
Terence, you've not made an impact in Europe for fucking 20 years. And
at least.
You've brought against anything, any kind of general kind of good practice in business. You've brought a man back who was the CEO for 18 years and made him fucking chairman.
Oh, I fully agree with you, John. It's some of the business model. Take the football side out of it. The business model at times, when you look at it from Celtic, you just look at it and think, what's gone under? Why bring back, as you said, the likes of Law? Well, he was gone. Leave him gone. If he's in a non-executive role for Europe or whatever they wanted, fine. But bring in a younger someone. There's no business plan.
He's in a non-executive role.
I know, but he's sitting there as I know what you're saying, but he's sitting. But in AGMs and things like Mark, he's sitting there like your figure, as obviously the chairman, and like,
he was the highest paid CEO in British football, as I understand, and also at the moment now, I think you've got 3 members on the board that collect individually are earning more than the First Minister, the fucking Prime Minister, and the Chancellor of the Exchequer are earning collectively. The laws, I said it the other day there, Celtic's at £72 million in the bank because of me and people like me. Fuck all to do with anything that Dermot Desmond or Peter Lawwell or Mark Lawwell has done.
Oh, I agree with you. As I said, like for example, my slightly off the point, my brother-in-law 2 weeks ago went over for the Motherwell game. He brought my sister and his 3 boys for the first time. They went to the Celtic match. They travelled over had to travel over on a Friday evening. They booked an apartment. They spent all the money. They travelled over. They take it up at 5 the following morning to travel back home. And they went over to watch the Motherwell match. They're like you're saying, John. It's people like that and like yourselves and that are going to these matches, that are pumping money. They're going into the merchandise. They're paying big money for merchandise, and they're with their 3 and 4 different jerseys that are coming out and all the rest of it. They're the people, and I fully agree with you. They're the people that are the reason that it's the 72 million in the bank. You know what I mean?
The point I was making the other day, see, I know I can just about see. I'm getting a kind of look at Peter Lawwell, but I can just about see him thinking. I didn't take my. I posted this other week as well. I didn't take much. That's the first years I've not taken.
This is going to turn into a Netflix drama, isn't it? JFB hunting down the walls and stuff like that. I didn't take my Champions League package. Loads of reasons for that. Late o'clock back and up o'clock, the daft o'clock again. It's no good during the week. My laddie's up at 5, so he doesn't go. It means I've got a bit of the late night walk through quarantine back to Airdrie myself, which I'm getting older. I'm not quite up for it anymore.
So that was probably 60% the reason. 40% of the reason I didn't buy them was the summer transfer window, the lack of investment, the lack of ambition with the board. Now, I know that Mr. Law's sitting there thinking, see if GFP doesn't take his package.
Somebody else.
Someone else will, but
Man number 2 is going to take it. But see, from a business point of view, I'm thinking, fair dues, Peter. But is there a man number 3? See, when man number 2 gets pissed off and knows that the only thing you can come up with financially is releasing a fourth strip, and we failed 20 years of failure, and we piss man number 2 off.
You go back to the Ronnie Daly days.
Exactly right. Increasingly, we don't want the players want to come and get humiliated 6-0 in Madrid. The managers want to come on, put their reputation on the line. Is there a third man? Simple terms, see if Celtic lost the 60,000 fans that's filling that stadium now, is there a second 60,000 to be tapped into? I don't think there is. Take back to just as you said there, turns under Ronnie Dyla. The top tier was shot. Top tier was shot. You know,
John, I don't know if you were on, John, but sorry, on you go.
See, just to let me finish with that. So we had this discussion over a pint in Coolbridge on Friday night. See, with somebody with a vision there, Fergus McCann there, right? They would need to develop that main stand to accommodate it, because Celtic would fill it with the right investment and the right and the right ambition. But as they stand just now, they're increasingly likely not to be able to fill what they've even got.
Right, just to go back on what I was going to say there, and I said this, I've said it on the podcast, and I've said it privately to people. See what you're saying there, John, about other people buy the tickets, will they fill the stand in that, right? It's like that. This is the 13th year, right? I've been doing the forum and stuff like that. See, every year, I can predict it. It's been the same all through most of the majority of times I've been doing the forum and stuff like that. There's a heavy moaning session every summer. No matter who we signed, see when we were signing good players, it was still no good enough. Do you know what I mean? It's always the same every transfer window. Then we start off the season and it's all right. We either get out of Europe, pumped out the Champions League qualifiers and get into Europa League. There's all the humming and hawing. We get pumped. It's all negative. It's negative. And then we don't play in Europe because we're packed out. The January window comes, you're back to the January window, blah, blah, blah. But the swinging point is, and it'll be the same again for a hell of a lot of Celtic support. Watch this. If we beat them, Hug Marie or whatever it is, the 30th, whenever we play them, that will swing a lot of it back in the Celtic, the board, the club, the board, and that's kind of favour. Oh, that's us, we'll beat them. We're in front of them in the league with a wee bit more. No European football for us to moan about and like, oh, we're getting pumped. And then
I'm hearing, maybe it's, I can only talk about the Celtic supporters that I'm talking to, but I'm hearing a level of awareness in terms of what we're dealing with at board level, and a sense of disillusionment that I don't think I've this is 20 years of failure.
Well, that's what I was going to say, John. That's what I'm thinking. And what I'm hoping is because see if we win the league in the Scottish Cup, every again the garden's rosy, and see when guys like me and you talk up about what's going on behind the scenes and still being changed, what are you moaning about? We've just won the league, we've just won the double. Do you know what I mean? What are you moaning about? You're just, you know what I mean? Always looking to drag things down. So many majority of Celtic fans, like everything's got to be in that minute. I mean, see if we win the league, how many people are going to be on here the day after that, John, moaning about, right, what's happening? Is Mark Lyle going to be up to this task in the summer? Nobody, because that's you moaning. What are you on about? We've just won the league. Stop moaning. Enjoy yourself. And that's the kind of way it's just as a cycle, watching Celtic and watching what the fans are all saying over the years. And there's got to come a tipping point where the fans saying, oh, hold it. But we're getting back slapped, really. I mean, for Celtic to brag about having £70 million in the bank and be embarrassed in the Champions League, it's ridiculous. It's beyond nonsense for me.
I'm glad we're at least having this conversation, because this is Matt Lowell and the board is a conversation to have. You know, Philip's been a donkey. You know, he goes back to Liverpool, we'll see him again, right? good night. Thanks for the memories, eh?
But the main problem's still there.
Taylor will be replaced, Joe Hart will be replaced, but fucking Peter and Mark and Dermot will still be sitting up there, and you'll still be getting issued with a fourth tap. That's about the best it came up with financially. And Peter telling you next year we've got fucking 80 million in the bank. Aye, we were pumped again, eh? But we were, and it's fucking, as we've said, runs and repeat. I'm genuinely finding among Celtic supporters, as I said, a sense of disillusionment and awareness of what we're dealing with. It's the one thing about Peter Lawwell. The good thing about Peter Lawwell is he doesn't hide it well what he's all about, eh? You know, if the Celtic support, if their ambition is just to be champions among the bums, come out and tell us that. Aye,
that's exactly that. See if that's their ambition, at least tell us that.
Champions among the bums.
You're talking, John, about the price of your tickets and stuff like that for going to these Champions League games. I mean, £60 a ticket, that's a lot of money. Right? I know that's not why you didn't take him, John, but they're Welshies in the chat. That guy travels. You know what I mean? He's coming up from Wales travelling.
He's lost all credibility. He said bring Ronnie Dyler back.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. Ronnie Dyler, CSC. Until Ronnie, we were never happy. But guys like Welsh, I'm in a wee group chat with Welsh and some of the other boys for the section and that, and see the hours and travel that these guys put in, and a lot of them are younger than that. I mean, Welsh is a couple of years younger than me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't get up 5 o'clock in the morning now and start going to a football game and stuff like that. And it's the guys like that I feel sorry for. He must be very aware to Rome to watch playing Lazio.
There's a guy
cost a more £1,000, and it's just what's that all about?
That's what I'm saying. There's been a fan base there that Celtic has always known that they could tap into, because it's in our DNA, and it's like an illness almost. You can't even
just take advantage of it, man. The board just take advantage of it. You know, and I'd nearly say I'd rather Celtic not be in the Champions League because it's so embarrassing. I know I'm probably in the minority saying that, but I'd rather them not be in the Champions League because it's embarrassing watching it.
Terence, if I had Dermot Desmond's ear, I would like to be telling him, Dermot, see this model? It's not sustainable, because just exactly the question I've asked you, and I've not heard this from anybody else. It just makes perfect sense to me that when I don't take my tickets, there's not. Man number 2, there's Mark Barton again. He keeps doing that. But say, and man number 2 takes my ticket. Is there a man number 3? If you lose this, if you piss the 60,000 off you've got, if you get another 60 to come by, how sustainable is your business model? Where's your business plan? What's the direction of travel? What's the goal? Is it to get out the last 16? So towards that goal, people talk about goals and objectives, 2 different things. What's the objective next year? Is it to buy 4 projects and 2 quality players? 6 projects, 1 quality player? What is it? How are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? Or as we say, champion among the bums, just staying ahead of the Rangers? Is that it?
That seems to be the model.
I mean, I'm like you with some of the stuff you say. You sound like a broken record. We say it all the time. I just go for it. Look at what PSG do. Look at what Bayern Munich do. These teams they're the biggest team in the country. You know what I mean?
Somebody said to me when I said that, somebody, the guy, whoever it was that dug us up on the chat, they said, look at what spending millions, hundreds of millions is, what good's it done Man United. You're thinking, no, what about the one you should be looking at is looking at fucking Copenhagen. That took, how many did they take after them?
I know.
Was it 4? Do you know? Say that's the model you should be looking at. Clubs with your own turnover, no bigger fan base. That are doing what is your benchmark? Is the benchmark better than the Rangers? Is that what's in the boardroom?
I think so. I think it is, John. I have to be honest, because it doesn't matter who comes in, regardless of manager, the same general valuation of players seems to be brought in every year. In my opinion, within $1 million or so, there doesn't seem to be any massive. As I said, this is a club that's going as long as it's going. It's never paid more than $9 million for a player. Never paid more than $9 million. And I'm not going to take. I know someone says, "Oh, we pay Jota and then we pay this," and I'm talking about one-off payment, going to buy a player, looking at him in Manchester marketing, going, yeah, we want him. He's 12 million, and he said they're going to buy him. You know, Edwards the only one for 9 million. That's, you know, to me, and someone, I think Mark or someone mentioned it a while ago. Celtic got a return on Edward. They obviously they loaned Jota, then they paid 6.5 million because it's agreed. They got obviously the money back in Jota. But like, look at all the 2s and the 3s and the £1 million players they've got. Like, it's just, you know, how many of them? Like you actually said it, none of them come true. Like, very little.
That analysis that Juco James did, he wasn't just talking about the 25% success rate in terms of recruitment across the board, but he was looking at the, as I said to you, that the success in that £1 to £3 million bracket compared to that kind of 7 to £10 million bracket.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just in terms of the quality that you managed to purchase; it was in terms of the return you got on them as well.
Sellability, and that's the side of it. You're not going to sell any of these guys, like.
If Juco James can see it and daft people like me out in Airdrie can see it, well, what's happening with the Celtic board?
Money, JFP, money in their pockets. That's what's happening to them.
I thought you fell asleep, Paul.
I did.
I thought you took a wee nap, Paul. I thought you took a wee nap there.
But that's the truth of it, isn't it? They're just thinking about their own.
But see, that is our kind of business model, right? Trying to buy these projects, and some of them do work out. A few of them work out. I don't know, but you'd probably
like,
say 50-50. But what we should be doing is, on top of these kind of projects, you've still got to spend some serious money on one or two players every window.
We don't seem to be kind of doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Like, but that,
what
for me,
JFP said there. What's your plan? Buy 3 project players, but you have to buy 1 experienced player to come in, fit into the squad, and then these fellas then will be your backup, give them some game time. But we're not even doing that. Like, you know what I mean? We bought 9 players for about 20 million this year, and only 1 is getting into the first team really in Palma. Yeah,
Palma was probably the best. He was probably the kind of best one. He's a reputation in that.
You look at Palma. Fair enough, he's a decent free kick, but he only has 3.
We've got very little 69 million signs. What I'm meaning historically, like even like Vickers, you could move Vickers on at a profit. We moved Juranovic on at a profit. You moved Jota on at a profit.
But we bought
in that kind of bracket,
we bought Neil Lennon, we bought Sutton, we bought Hartson for 6 million. That was 20 years ago.
100%.
Yeah. But this is what I keep saying to you, Mark.
That's what you keep saying, that £6 million back then doesn't get you nothing. James Forrester in an article said Scott Brown would have cost us £7 million a day. So you compare this guy for Aberdeen if we need to break.
I don't think, Mark, we would have signed Scott Brown if Scott Brown was on the transfer list this year. No, that's
the point I was making earlier. I'm getting to the point I can't even be asked breaking the analysis of the game down or how the players did, because you're thinking the problem is so much more fundamental than that. It's you know. You get the cold every you're getting a hanky, you just keep wiping your nose. You don't think, why am I keep getting the cold? The fucking board's the reason.
You look at the game.
You keep getting the cold. It's not a fucking hanky.
I'm stealing that one.
When I was looking at the game today, when the 2 centre backs at the ball, Scales and Phillips, I constantly saw Iwasa looking for the ball. And between Scales and Phillips, all they did between the 2 of them was pass the ball. And there was the Wasser moving to receive the ball. And either then one of them would go on a run and or give a long ball out, purely taking the Wasser out of the game, who for me keeps things simple, gets the ball moving forward, and 9 times out of 10 he completes a pass. You know.
I did notice that, Paul. There's a few times I was looking for the ball.
And then we're going high ball mark. Then you're giving up a high ball mark to Palma against a 6'4" defender.
I didn't. Because I don't know. I think I spent more time in the live chat. It was quite a good crack today.
You were looking for recipes, Jai.
I'm getting that. I'm at that point where I need the
Get a
glasses.
ninja air fryer. That's what you need
I
to
need
get. A ninja air fryer, and you'll be
I
sorted.
need glasses to see the telly, but I need to take them off to see my phone. I'm at that kind of age, eh? So when I'm on the live chat, I miss half the game. I was actually thinking about Paul during the week when my Fash fan came. Mark, but I mean, I think it was Paul. I think it was Paul that said that. One of the times I says, I'll let you go, my Fash fans here. I'm going out for 12 Fash and 12 Fash cakes.
Aye. You still won't know what you're talking about.
Paul says, what's JFB saying? What language is he speaking?
You don't have a clue, man. Fish and chips or something. You said,
You've got it. It's somebody. Fish Fash.
Fash. It's these boys for. There's actually a guy. The guy that sits beside me at Parkhead. He's for Peterhead. And I think I've sat beside him now for about 15 years, 16 years. I've got absolutely no idea what he's saying. None. Don't know what. Don't know what he says most of the time. I know he doesn't like Samaras. That's about all I know. Like, you know, it's
It's like a different. I mean, even you go to Larkco and that, and it's a different language you speak up that direction.
I'll tell you this, a funny story, right? Just a wee funny one. I went out one night to James, right? James has been coming to us for years. His stuff's fantastic. You're the man mentioned recipes here, right? I get 12 peat smoked haddock off him and 12 peat smoked Fash cakes, right? And I'm out to him one day, and my myth must have been ahead of my brain. I says, "Hi James," I says, "Geese 12 your Fash and 12 your Fash cakes." And I wasn't trying to offend him, but he just burst out laughing, eh? But it says, he says, they like their Fash in that Coat Bridge. He says, right? I says, aye, James, all right. He says, they're Catholics. He says, obviously, because no reason. I says, aye, James, I says, we're Catholics and all. He says, you never told me that. I says, I didn't know I was supposed to fucking confess to my fish, man. They're Catholics.
Maybe an extra slice.
Go away 3 months, and this podcast is coming into a cooking podcast.
Air fryer CSC.
I think the live chat's absolutely fantastic for that. See some of where the conversation is going to sometimes in terms of the cooking, but there's a couple of cooks on it, Mark.
A couple of what?
A couple of folk
I
missed Jerry. I missed.
I thought you were saying something else there.
Oh, cook.
Look, Welshie's away to watch Kylie. No way, Welshie. You're getting banned for that, mate. That's a third offence.
Do you know who I missed the other night there? See wee Jerry. I think you must know wee Jerry. Is he for the Hamilton way or Mark?
Or Jerry McGinn?
Aye.
No, he's got Cumbernauld. Aye. I've met him in that. He's been at my house in that a couple of times, aye.
There must just be some connection with the humour with him, because I've seen me just saying something. Jerry just always gets it. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
He's mad as a March here, right enough. But with great crack, like. He's the bits about us. Jerry does the computers and all that and everything.
Aye, that's it. Aye, that's who built my computer up the stair in the room and that. Aye, he's a good guy, Jerry.
Aye, but he always, even when it's a bit obscure, he always gets the humour, like. So anyway, we've done the board to death, eh?
Cool, but why's cool getting mentioned in the chat? Something.
He's just saying that he's asked his agent kind of for a move. I think Harry always kind of wanted to go into management, didn't he? He kind of wanted to get back.
Don't grudge a guy that, do you? I mean, I don't like it. I don't like a guy after what he done going to Turkey after what happened to the Leeds fans and that. But I mean, he was well thought as a coach. Do you know what I mean? He's done his job. If he wants to go and try his hand at managing himself, fair dues. Do you know what? It's like John Kennedy. Many times have we said John Kennedy should go out and try and be his own man? But I think that's past. John Kennedy's, I've said it for years about him. I think he's just he's more a coach than a manager. Aye. I think he prefers coaching the actual pressure of managing and stuff like that. I really do. Mark,
he's a secure job for life.
Burnbank massive. Martin, you for Burnbank. I mean, the thing about Kennedy is all these managers have came and went, and they've all kept him on.
He's obviously good at what he does.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's obviously good at what he does.
Damien Duff, that was a bit. Damien Duff was well liked as a coach. It was just his kind of personal life. It wasn't he? Went to
Listen to me.
come back home and that cause his kids and stuff like that.
He's doing well as well, but he's a manager with Shelbourne, boy. That's what he is.
Listen, you could have had Jesus Christ today managing that team and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, well, she says, as long as we don't lose laptop. Baby Stratton. Man, see, when you think about it, it's all a kind of joke. It's like, that goes back to FIFA. Geez, like, you probably don't know that, John, or Terence, right? It's in the FIFA game, the icons, and they call them like Baby R9 and Prime R9 and stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's how I started calling them like Baby Lil and Baby Stratton, you know. But see, when you think about it, it is a bit, when you lay out the facts like that, it's a bit nepotistic looking into it.
It's a very big word.
They're a good, I was just going to say that's a good word, isn't it? Nepotistic. But it is, there's that kind of connections. And I mean, Fergus says Celtic would never fall into the same hands and stuff like that.
Nepotism. How do you really expected me to buy that we went and scoured Europe for the best in recruitment available, and we happened to come up with the ex-chief executive officer's fucking laddie.
See when that happened, John, but on you go.
Who allegedly Angie wanted when as far as I understand, he didn't. He's no a scout. He's no a data analyst. And he had an admin role with the City Group, and that's the best. I mean, what's the chances as a bet man? What's the chances that the best in Europe was Peter Law's boy? What the fuck?
Well, we had Harkin in the door, Mark, didn't we?
That was a guy. That's who we still got an that Fergal Harkin guy.
And stand on the edge, no, he's with.
That's right. Thing we said the same thing today in the live chat. Malachi said the same thing. Malachi said it today. Aye. He said the same thing. That's a man we should have brought on. Does he Parks? Does he the ologists have signed of a sack Park as well?
Aye. But see the thing with Baby Lil, right? See, sometimes, I mean, you know yourself, John, all you know that you've all worked with folk and got people jobs and stuff like that. Nepotism can sometimes work out for you, right? And look, for me,
if the guy can do his job, it's maybe not a bad thing, eh?
But I don't know if Baby Lil actually like the kind of brains of the operation, but you know, like he was in charge of the actual scouting departments and stuff like that. Do you get what I mean by that? Rather than him actually doing it himself, it was a bit. I mean, he's not worked for Man City that long, John, but you can't work for Man City that long and not be good at your job.
But what was he doing? Is my understanding he had an admin role organising fucking friendlies. He wasn't a scout. He's not a data analyst. He's I mean, let's park that. All you need to look at is his last 17 signings. The proof of the pudding's in the eating, Mark. The summer transfer windows all I need to see, and his record with 11, his last 17 signings. I've seen enough. If I'm Dermot Desmond, I'm giving him nothing in January. Absolutely nothing in January. He's wasted 20 million.
But do you think again? Not going on about the same point.
He was the head of first team scouting and recruitment. So his job in the City Group.
My understanding was he held a role. It wasn't. If he did hold that role, he held it briefly, and he wasn't very fucking good at it. And he later had an admin role where he was primarily organising friendlies, and then kind of more general kind of administrative stuff in terms of dealing with agents, etc. The problem is we don't know it's the one. It's the one.
What's that noise?
Is that Paul farting again?
That's Yogi sleeping, I says it. That's the only sleeping
I thought
there.
it was you, Paul. Somebody's snoring.
Schroeder.
Snow
It's,
Yoda.
Yes, no.
It's no, it's not that. It's Paul's dog.
Well, I've got one here as well, but he's no snoring either. He's sleeping. Michael.
Mick. Is it your
My
dog called
Lord.
Mick? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
he's after kidnapping
it's great for him.
He's fucking
Wait.
has him tied up in the room.
Aye. He's
My wife
roofied Peter Lowe.
My wife was up in was it last month?
Paul.
My wife was up in the vets, and she started at the back and she says, "Can we help you, big Q?" And the vet and the lassie says, Highland says, I'm in for tablets for Mick." And our wee deacon was in, and he says, "And I'm in for tablets for Paddy." How good's that? Paddy and Mick. No, I mean, I think you only need to look at his forget what role we held before. What the summer transfer window, his last 17 signings tells you absolutely everything. Who's watching the stream for the toilet? What's that?
Someone taking Celtics to feed bad.
Right, I've got a line up here that says everybody in the show can see you. I'm hoping that's not the case.
What?
big red face on top of it.
And I'm not in the toilet.
Yeah, what were we talking about there?
I don't know.
But nepotism,
No,
right? How nepotism can work for you at times, right? Whether it's going to work out with the Lils, right? We don't know. But it's like people say, "Oh, we should." It's like, see, when you get up a signing, like, "Oh, what about signing so and so?" Or just want to sign him for he's a Celtic supporter and stuff like that. See, at times, I sign them for a good enough player because they're a Celtic supporter. Maybe what. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be that bit more invested in the team and fight a bit harder and stuff like that. And so even, I mean, I've said it. Baby Stratton, he's one of the best laptop, whatever you want to call it, kind of start guys in the game. You know what I mean? So that again, was it nepotism? Was it because Gordon Stratton was connected to Celtic, he got the job? Maybe it was. And if that's how he could go to the job, that's fair dues if they're good at the job. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say to you, John. And I did think that Mark Lowe would have been better at the job that he's done. Hopefully, he can come good, but I did. That's what I said at the time. If you can use nepotism and jobs for the boys to your favour, and you're getting the best that you can be, just because you've got that personal relationship, going back to even Dermot Desmond and getting Rodgers to come back and stuff like that, then fair dues. But you don't just use nepotism for the sake of it.
But again, going back to the point though, Mark, that I said a while ago. Like I'm definitely not defending Mark Lawwell, but it was he or whoever, if the main call comes at him, has he been told from the powers to be above him, the budget for players is 3 to 5 million?
Terence, yeah, I think so.
Because not to be in there that long and not bought a single
market. I think that's why we're still looking at the Asian market for players. I mean, because it's cheap and you might get, you know.
Well, I think the fact that they had a couple of successes with the ones that the Spurs manager knew. They had also a couple of duds there, no question about it. But I'm not trying to defend the guy at all by any stretch of imagination. But like the thing is, they haven't bought, like you were mentioning the Croatian keeper there, Mark. I'm not saying Celtic didn't go from whatever. But I think he was about 7 million or 9 million or something like that. But like, you're kind of wondering, or do Celtic just go, no, we'll go for this 3 to 5 million, because they're saying we'll buy, some of them are project players. There's no reserve league in Scotland. Where are they going to get football? What are they going to come on for 5 minutes? For 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of the game when Celtic happen to be 3 or 4-0 up at home. What? Like, I mean, there's a big difference between training and playing. A big difference. Like, we've all played a bit of ball at whatever, or sport at whatever level. There's a big difference between going out training all the time and actually going playing matches. So, as I said, I'm not defending the guy by any stretch of the imagination, because at the end of the day, if your job is to get guys in and you keep getting duds in, regardless if it's the 5 million bracket, the 3 to 5 million bracket, and you keep getting the rubbish in. Eventually, someone's going to go, look, you're just, you're just having a pile of rubbish here behind me, like, because Celtic have so much deadwood in the club at this stage now. It's laughable, and you said before, Mark. Look at the wages. Look at the wages it's taken in.
Our squad at the moment is
something like 35 players.
36 players. 36 players. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think.
I mean, 11 can only play at one time. Like, there's no reserve league. Why do you need that many? Like,
you're not going to trim your squad in 2 transfer windows. Like Brendan Rodgers wants a squad. I think he set up 20 players. Is it 20 players?
That's another.
Pay them off.
That's just another
They've
aspect.
got to bite the bullet.
That's just another aspect of your recruitment fails. Is bad poor squad management in terms of letting a squad. That's no Brendan Rodgers' fault. That's no the Spurs manager's fault that you've got a bloated. Somebody when these guys are deemed not good enough, they should be moved on.
Even as Mark said, John, they should even be paid off as worst case scenario. Because like James McCarthy, with the greatest respects, I was hoping he would have come good. He would have done well at Celtic. He's basically there just getting a wage. He may as well be sitting in the stand.
Parents, James McCarthy had played on an average about eight games a season for the last 2 or 3 years. Who sanctioned that?
Oh, I listen. I agree with you. I no question about it. I mean, he came with a poor track record in regards to playing for a couple of seasons. I don't know, but it baffles the mind who does sanction these things. Sometimes you think, is he signed because he's, hate to say it, because he's Irish in the sense of Republic of Ireland international, even though he's a Scottish lad.
I think that was David Desmond himself.
But Ange met James McCarthy before he signed.
McCarthy should have been when McCarthy should have been signed. It was
Hamilton.
You could have bought him for $1 million, and Mad Mowbray said it wasn't the complete package. And what a fantastic player it'd been about to buy at that stage for £1 million. Eh?
But it's meant to be. It's meant to be. It's knowing that much a week.
We're kind of screaming out for no, Mark, ain't this?
Oh, you're a young player like McCarthy, definitely. But it's meant. I mean, it all mounts up the McCarthys and the.
There was 2 of them. There was 2 of them at Hamilton at that time. I mean, there was MacArthur.
MacArthur. Aye.
Mm-hmm.
But your
it's meant to be James McCarthy isn't own that much a week. It was more a kind of. I mean, I don't know what a tick your wage is to a player kind of fit, but it'll be a few grand anyway. So it all mounts up and you count the type of players in. But he's not meant to be that much. It was meant to be a lot more if he played games and stuff like that. But it's just another waste of money. And it's
still productivity, though, Mark.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the money you're paying McCarthy in wages, the transfer fee in Bernaby and Barkas, Ayeti. Imagine the player you could have got for all that money clumped in together and just put on one player. A transfer fee and the wages. Think you what kind of level of player you're getting for that. That's what I've said for years. No problem the amount of money Celtic spend, it's how they spend it that pisses me off with them.
See, if you're Dermot Desmond, Mark, surely you're sitting, you're saying, even if you don't know all the dates and when what happened, you'd be saying, who signed McCarthy, who signed Barkas, and who signed Bernaby? Can you go and find out that for me? And then we'll sack him this afternoon.
And the board of shitting themselves.
I mean, don't get us wrong. Bernaby is supposedly meant to be. I've never seen anything. I've not heard anything after Celtic to the contrary. But I mean, he's getting a snippet like the Argentinian international scene and stuff like that. So maybe he's got something, but he just didn't. Maybe it's the Scottish game. Maybe I don't know. He just never showed anything to me that he warrants even. I mean, to think it was 3.5. Does anybody in the chat know? 3.5 million.
He lost his way after that Hearts game, that handball. He lost his way after that Hearts game. Confidence just went after that game, I think, in Scottish football.
He was lost long before that, Paul. Long before that. But you look at James McCarthy.
They're one, by the way. They're Welsh. Just put up. Barkas would be better than Hart. Barkas is running. Barkas, I said this, Barkas. We'll end up going up against Barkas in the Champions League and he'll bitches. I've said that for him. I've said it for years before we signed him. But
Maybe Europa League if the team he plays that gets relegated. So Mark, Celtic in another few seasons when this coefficient goes pear-shaped, they won't be in the Champions League no more.
Do you know what? I'm dreading us looking for a replacement for Joe Hart. I'm dreading it. Really, yeah. Who did come up with?
You're the goalkeeping expert, Paul. Who would you go for?
Toby.
Mizuno.
But you have to be realistic, Paul. He's 20 million. How are they going to go for him? They've only spent 9 million. They have no hope of spending 20 million. There's as much chance of me growing a ponytail as there is them going for 20 million. And there's no chance I'm going to grow a ponytail, like.
Could we persuade Creevy Kelleher maybe, Terence? But there's a mistake in him then as well, like, you know what I mean?
He won't go either, Paul. He's not, like, if he goes, he's going to go for a season or so, but at the most on loan. But he's not going to go there either. He's not going to go to Celtic for what's he on Liverpool? 100 grand a week. Most of the teams in the Premier League.
No, the Irish boy.
He's only on
Liverpool. You're joking. He's on 100 grand a week at Liverpool.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mark. He's not going to go to Celtic.
Jeez, oh man,
that's more than Terence.
No, it's not. Come on.
No, Terence early rates are a bit lower than that, about 15 pence lower, I think Terence is on.
Yeah, we got to pay a rise. It's 20 now, Mark.
Oh, right. That's unbelievable, man. He's hardly played a game for them, hasn't he? No.
But that's the Premier League, Mark. But just to go back to a very quick point that JFP was mentioned about the McCarthy one. Like, they brought in McCarthy at a time where Lewis Ferguson was available. Lewis Ferguson is supposed to be going to Juventus now for like 20 million. And everyone was saying when you were saying Lewis Ferguson, I was mad for Lewis Ferguson to go. I know JFP was mad for Lewis Ferguson to go.
Yep.
Celtic to go for him. And they didn't. But they'd go for someone like James McCarthy because he's played a bit in Premier League. As I said, it's snobbery. It's the whole lot that goes with it. Like,
aye.
You know,
me and Mikey were talking about this earlier on. I touched on it earlier on. See, if you look at the players in the last few years, they've been right under Celtic's nose in Scotland, right? And I'm going to mention McKenna because he's available and it's a bit touch and go. People are a bit, what should we sign him? Should we know McKenna? Mikey says that Ryan Porteous. I don't know that much about him really. Right, but that Doig for Hibs, Hickey for Hearts, Lewis Ferguson, John McGinn. Right, and these guys, right, and they're all, right, I'm not interested in international football, but they're all international players. They took Scotland to a major tournament, and they must be half decent at least.
But a lot of them you see them playing week in, week out, Mark.
Lewis Ferguson, that Doig, Hickey, and that. Celtic couldn't afford to sign him anymore. They couldn't. See if Celtic wanted to sign Aaron Hickey, they couldn't do it. If Celtic wanted to go and sign Lewis Ferguson now, they couldn't do it. They couldn't afford it. No. They couldn't afford the wages or even the fee or nothing.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Not to see these players under your nose is a big mistake.
Do you think we'll go in for this lad from Aberdeen? Or do you think that's just the papers or the striker for Aberdeen?
I think Ed says I said that I've not seen enough of the guy to comment, but I think he's a better age than Shankland, eh?
Aye,
54. 24, I think he is he?
54.
Yep.
54. 54. You said 54.
I think he's a 24.
He's
I know I said I'd like an old guy for the cover of his Paul, that kind of first striker, no, Paul, but no 54.
He's an international. He scored goals in a bad Aberdeen team. He scored a cracker against them the other week. That's about all I've seen from him. My criticism, he's probably not as physical as I'd like. The problem we've got, I don't think. I don't think strikers right. I don't think Kyogo's just. We've almost exonerated, and I'm not exonerating Brendan Rodgers for criticism here either. He's a. When he came at first there, he's trying to get Taylor to go outside when everybody knows he's happier coming inside. He's got Kyogo playing deep. Back to these stats again. It's probably boring the arse off everybody, but the stats are showing that what's the biggest difference between last season under the Spurs manager and this season is the wingers are producing nothing.
Yang only created
Kyogo's getting starved to death. He's playing too deep. He's getting starved to death. Against Hibs, you see the one goal you get. That's what I've actually said that in the live chat. What was the game before that? It was a Motherwell game. I was at Parkhead for Motherwell game, and I watched the two wingers for 90 minutes, and no one of them got to the byline once and cut the ball back. The two things that we talked about Rodgers improving a player. He told Matt Riley needed to add goals to his game. He's done that. Second thing, he told Palmer that he needs to get to the byline and go outside. When he cuts the ball back in the Hibs game, you got to go for Matt Riley with the head. It's a but the system. I'm not sure the system suits Kyogo to the extent that I actually would be surprised. And I know he's no Ed's cup of tea and he doesn't love his dancing and he hates and be God the best for Larson, but he's to me, he's been fantastic. But the guy actually looks frustrated just now, getting played out of position. He looks frustrated. He cuts a lonesome figure there, playing deep like that. But there's nothing coming back to him for the bylines to for him to feed.
I think as well.
Kieran,
a lot of it.
Which even lads, what a shit show. I thought you meant your show was shit. Sorry, Kieran, nice to see you again, mate. Thanks very much for coming in. I thought you said we were talking shit there. What you after
I
that
think
one?
as well that look, Kyogo's 29 and he's not going to be Kyogo's 29. He's not going to be able to change his game.
No,
Kind of
I'd sell Kyogo in the
it?
summer. Aye, definitely.
Brian's going to be after you.
I disagree. But I think Celtic and Rodgers might. I wouldn't be surprised if they sold Kyogo because I don't think he's a Rodgers type of striker.
And I'll tell you now, look at O'Day. Right, I missed a few chances and that, but look at the work he put in. Can you not see why I've said all along?
He's a handful.
He's more a Rodgers type of player than Kyogo for me.
100%. His hold up plays better. He's physical. That goal he scored last week, he does. His strength and skill in it. He does well to hold the player off, and then his finish is excellent.
Yeah, but like if we're going back to the point, John, that you were making there, like if our wingers were actually getting to the byline and supplying all with the ball.
Paul,
that's the problem. That's the main problem. The team were not creating chances. You know,
the comment I made on the live chat when he cuts the ball back for when Palmer does get to the byline, and once he does go outside, he cuts the ball back, and O'Reilly scores. Was that against Hibs, wasn't it? Was it Hibs game?
Yeah.
And I said in the live chat, this fucking winger's getting to the byline and cutting the ball back, could catch on. Do you know?
I think Mickey. I know he's poor, but Mickey Johnson's getting an awful dose there on the thing. He was the only one getting to the byline today trying to cross that ball. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but many chances is the boy going to need.
Mickey Johnson.
But Mickey Johnson, aye, that's
Mickey Johnson for who, Mark, at the moment?
Aye, exactly. Exactly. A bad as injured.
I'm not saying Mickey Johnson should be starting, Mark, but drop Mickey Johnson for who? Yang.
Aye.
You know?
That's the only reason. The only reason he's getting a crack at the whip is because there is nobody else.
We'll start with 10 minutes. So,
Johnson, right? You're going to bring on James Forrest, and I saw James Forrest today struggling to run back to chase the ball that they broke out from a counter attack, and James Forrest was trying to run back, and he got floored by the fella. What's his name that you mentioned a while ago that controlled the game for Kilmarnock?
Armstrong.
Armstrong. Forrest was trying to keep up, and he left Forrest for dead.
See when we're rocking up in Europe with Mikey Johnson in one wing and Forrest in another, you've got to be thinking.
It's a frightening.
But who else did they have, John?
Nobody. But why are you here? Why are you here, Paul?
No.
Why are you here?
No, but that's what I mean. If Maeda was fit and hadn't been banned, if he didn't get sent off, if he'd been fit, Maeda would be playing that right wing slot.
Are we just?
Arabada would be playing it.
Are we actually seeing though, Mark, as well, right? Are we actually seeing as well, though, that Maeda and Hitase control the pace of the Celtic team when they're not playing?
Aye, but Maeda, I've said it before, Maeda doesn't do much when he's got the ball, but see what he does without the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Celtic missed today, that kind of urgency. But see Celtic with a fully fit squad, that team the day that we put out would have looked totally different. Do you get what I mean? Carter Vickers or even one of the other two centre-backs instead of Nat Phillips, because there's got to be something in that contract that he's got to get minutes when available or whatever. Right?
Who's that, man? And Phillips, is it?
Aye, Phillips, aye, definitely. But you put Carter Vickers into the team the day there, right? And then you're starting off with, we've all been screaming out for Awata to start. He done it. McGregor, O'Reilly. I don't think anybody would dispute that. That's probably.
But I thought, Mark,
the midfield be what we wanted.
I think we just
starved. You're on the wing.
That's what I thought. We starved Owasa the ball today. Like it was like a long ball we were playing today or something like that. Like we're all talking about Rodgers playing possession football. He likes to hold on to the ball. He likes to draw the defence out. But then you have Phillips then just playing the long ball, choke the fucking game. And it wasn't working. Anytime he tried the long ball, it was just going straight to a kill. He wasn't even targeting our highest player. He was trying to get the ball out to Palma. You know? You see, that's the thing. Phillips passed 10 minutes before he was going to actually do it by the time he made up his mind what he was going to do. You know?
Well, I don't understand when you're watching them today as well, you're thinking, See when you're getting nothing out the wingers. Why no change for 4-3-3 to go to 4-4-2? Try to change it a wee bit. It's Rodgers is watching the same game.
I can't see why actually JFP why Rodgers won't do that now, because he can see now the way Owasa can play. Why doesn't he go to his preferred 4-2-3-1? You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not screaming out for Awata to start, and he's done well. And I don't think he should be the one that took off today, because that's the type of player that we need in there.
I think that was a mistake.
Right, see the runner that McGregor lost, would Awata have lost him, do you think? I don't think Awata lost him. In that kind of mindset, that's his game. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't sit there and watch the game full. I was on the live chat and I was going in and out. But you didn't lose again the day against a team that was playing a fucking low block. You couldn't break them down. Kilmarnock pumped us the day. Mm-hmm. It was I'd said halfway. When I was 1-0 down, if I'm Kilmarnock, I'm disappointed. I'm coming out and I'm going to have a right go at Celtic the second half. They hit the bar, hit the fucking post. They'd more chances than Celtic. See, when you said to me in the first half, it could be 5-3 then, and I says, to who?
Aye.
To who?
Aye. The collapse in the second half is... that's unforgivable.
Big Sutton said it today as well. You know, he thought it was the weakest performance for a Celtic team he's seen. You were second to every ball. You missed it. You lost every second ball. You were bullied in every area of the park. You never won a fucking header on either end of either box. It was it was a fair play. Congratulations to Kilmarnock. Fair play.
We see that as well. We see this as well last season from these players. Do you know what I mean? Like, they seem to kind of turn up when they want. Like, you know, it's how would you put the word like that?
It's few and far between they're turning up no quality, to be fair. There's a lot of games this season they've been absolutely atrocious. Atrocious. They as I said at the start of the podcast, the St. Johnstone game at home, the Motherwell game at home, the Hibs game away, Kilmarnock game in the League Cup away, there again today. You know, it's not. The problem is the players aren't good enough to be able to turn it on enough. They just don't have it. And players, I hate to say down tools, but it's like they down tools today. It's like players weren't ready for a fight. And Kilmarnock, as JFP said, disappointed to be 1-0 down, went in, goes, right, we're gonna tear into this lot. And when they did it, Celtic players just step back. They didn't want to know about it. They didn't want to be the guy to put. You want the guy to put his head where he wouldn't put his boot in those situations.
How long have we been saying we need somebody in the middle of the park? We need a Peter Grant was a topic of conversation today, which was interesting. But you know, how many times you seen a player getting you seen that tackle on for that Aberdeen centre half against Kyogo the other week there? Where's the Davy Hay? Where's the Peter Grant? Where's the player that you can pass him on to and say, see him, going to give him a bit of his own fucking medicine.
Even Lennon, JFP. I know he mightn't be everyone's fan, but even Lennon, you know what I mean? Lennon or someone like that.
Terence, I was
even Lambert, Paul Lambert.
100%.
Paul Lambert could do the best. Paul Lambert was the bang on midfielder because he could do that.
See, once one of them had done him, it should be passed on to somebody else to do him again to avoid getting a card. Now, where is that in the Celtic team?
That tackle on Cal McGregor today, it's a long time since I saw a Celtic player do that to an opposition player. Long time. You know, never saw a Celtic player do a tackle like that, and that's gone back a long time now since I saw that. I say it's gone back to Brown. I say, oh, Neil Lennon, you know.
The full team, even the defence looks weak. We've no physical presence in defence. Carter Vickers isn't that type of player. Skills, could he be? I don't know, but not the higher level anyway. Greg Taylor's a massive letdown. AJ's out of sorts, maybe just like Carter Vickers because he's been it for a long time. Stop interrupting, I'm going to smash your windies.
Yeah, it's a stage now, Mark, when I think when the teams now are playing Celtic, the opposition manager was saying, pump the ball down the left-hand side of the pitch. Get
in their face. Just get in their face. Yeah, that's it. That's how Celtic seem to. They're just nae kind of. I thought presence. We'll go toe to toe with you. They're nobody getting that kind of dig in the team. Maeda's out, and as I said, Maeda gives you a lot of energy, and he does give you a good bit of dig in the team. Doesn't do much when he's got the ball, but it's weird because he brings something to the team that's missing. The defence is a bit lightweight. There's no kind of dominant, hard fighting kind of centre back. There's no dig in the midfield. Awata's a good. It looks as if he's a good CDM, but has he got that kind of nastiness in him to get the dig in? Cal McGregor's turning a pure pussy. Matt O'Reilly's need to grow up here. Up front, Palmer shows up a wee bit when it comes to a wee bit of. He's a bit like Haksabanovic. I don't think he'll eventually get a red card after punching somebody in the face, I think. But then that's it. But apart from there's nobody winning the battles where the battles need to be won.
100%.
The spine of the team is very weak.
That's it. That's it. Me and Mikey say that all the time. The spine is needed strengthened. Kyogo's not got any physical side to his game at all. So you need to play what he can play. But it's a Brendan Rodgers team. If you want a big physical striker, Kyogo's not going to do it. Could become it, but he's not there yet. So we need better than But it's that midfield battle. We need to get a bit of steel and dig and nastiness into that midfield.
100%.
If you looked at the to go back a little bit, if you looked at when O'Neill came in, that was one of the first things he done is the spine of the team. You got a Bobo Balde, Valharin, he got in Lennon, you know what I mean? He got in Sutton, Hartson. There was the spine of the team. Yep.
Have you seen the interview with Paul Lambert? I'm not sure who does it. But it's one of the podcasts to do an interview with Paul Lambert.
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, somebody said to me the other week with this. In fact, it was under the Spurs manager. With this Celtic team beat O'Neill's team, for fucking behave yourself. Paul Lambert made a great comment as well. You know, he said, "See, if Barcelona wanted to come and play football, okay, we can play football. If you want to come, go toe to toe, we'll go toe to toe with you as well." And I think I'm with something today. That's as weak as Celtic. I mean, I remember saying the same thing to Mark years ago, and I think maybe it might have been the first or the second podcast. It's there's the one thing I can't handle is when we roll over like that, and you just can't match somebody for a bit of physicality like that. You lose at Ibrox, you should be come back with fucking 3 red cards and 2 yellows.
Mhm.
It just pushes the day, just absolutely. Second to every ball, you've not got a centre half that competes head in the ball in either box. You've not got a midfield. As I say, that tackle on Kyogo the other week here, the manager's got to be saying to Peter Grant, get out,
Sort him out.
go and fucking payback time in the way out here and see once you've done them, you're going to do them next. And move on in the team. It's
that'd be. I was always slightly off the point. I was always a rugby man, JFP. And if some of the stuff happened in the rugby pitch, you were playing, you're going right, boys. Number 7.
So go and you
I played with guys and they'd go, number 7 isn't walking off the pitch.
Go and you stick your 2 fingers up his nose and let him know what red ash tastes like.
Yeah, you'd literally chip the ball over towards him. He'd catch it, and literally everyone would wade in. Everyone would win it. No, I know it's slightly different to football, but the point is still there. If the guys done that, the Aberdeen guys, you said someone should be going, right, lads. Someone needs to sort this out. Someone needs to sort it out.
There, George Fitzsimmons asking the question that Ed's going to answer first, then I'm going to disagree.
Yes, the Celtic win the league. Oh, definitely. No doubt about it.
Definitely, no doubt about it. Right, lads, right. That is everybody get a pen and a bit of paper than
you can clip that.
I don't think, just looking at Rodgers, I don't think Rodgers could afford another failure at a club, going by Leicester's last season. And if he fails at Celtic, that could be Rodgers done and dusted as a manager. I don't think Rodgers would let that.
Do you know the one thing I wish he hadn't said, Paul? See, when he came back, he was interviewed outside the Celtic Park, and they said to him, he says to, I can't remember, I can't quote him verbatim, but he said, you know, to those that have supported me, thanks to those that to the doubters, I'll see you back here in May. And I'm thinking, I wish you hadn't said that.
I'm assuming that's when he's leaving, because he will leave at the end of the year.
See when he said it, I'll see you back here in May. I'm thinking, nah, do your talking on the park. Don't do your
exactly. But go back to the big question, right? Do you think they'll back Rodgers in January and give him what he wants? No. We say if it's a striker, if it's a left back, and if it's a midfielder, do you think they'll get the players that Rodgers actually wants?
It won't be available for.
How would they hold your breath?
That's the exact thing. That's it. That's it. Terms.
Because January's a hard transfer window to look at.
January. You've only got. I know we're hoping that deals are in place and stuff like that, but you've still only got 30 days or 31 days to get these deals done. Which we know for the summer windows can drag on months and months. So
unless Mark, there was deals we would kind of look like what I said there a while ago, like Rodgers kind of came in late. And we're going to kind of go back to those deals to get the players that we could have got them when Rodgers came in, but we just
Look, they've signed for our teams. I mean, we can't go and sign Lavakovic or Tete now, do you know what I mean? It cost us millions of pounds more than it would have. But
Rodgers was in long enough.
No, Peter, now, get back to the point you were talking about. So, are we going to win the league? John, you're next. You said you weren't going to answer the ad, so you're next in the hot seat.
Are we going to win the league?
Aye.
Yes.
Right.
I don't think it's. Yes. I'm going with my yes, but they should be. If it wasn't for these bastards on the board, there shouldn't even be a question mark over it.
But this is the thing about it, right? We get beat today. See, come maybe when we win the league, who's going to moan about this performance today? Who's going to say, "I will win the league"? But No,
Me,
aye,
because
you-
we-
aye,
See, Mark,
aye,
that's
because
the
you
fucking-
problem.
probably will.
Mark. That's the problem.
Aye.
That's the problem. It's only covering up the problems. That's
Aye,
Yep.
do you know what I
but
mean?
that's
You
the
know?
thing about it. Is there any tell us you think we'll win the league, didn't you?
I did think we'd win the league. I'm not as comfortable now. Put it that way.
I tell you what made me nervous. See when I saw the penalty that they got yesterday.
That was terrible, right?
I thought to myself, for fuck's sake, we're up against this. We're no brilliant, but we're no firing ourselves. Their pants, but we're no fire. At least say the biggest the biggest threat to us this year was, or the biggest disappointment was Beale leaving. That penalty, and I'm thinking, you know, we're up against, and I said this to you the last time, Mark. They're pants, but they're better than all the rest. So that means that it can,
me
that
make
means-
see me make have said, see, to be honest, me make have sat there and spoken that, and we've said we're actually just battling out to see who's the best shitest team in Scotland.
champion among the bums.
Aye, that's really what
That's
it
about
is.
mine. So you got the point. If they're better than all the rest, it then comes down to the heads to heads, right? In the main, in the main. When you see the penalty they get, you think, man, I can't remember who it was that said. They said if you put a detective on something, I said this to you before, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you'd catch them doing something wrong, and that's almost how it is. If you put a private detective on the Pope of Rome, I'm sure you'd get them doing something wrong, and that's almost how VAR has been utilised. I couldn't see yesterday how
Would
that's
that count for you,
clear-
John?
a clear and obvious error. I couldn't see where the clear and
No.
obvious fucking error was. I watched that about 6 times after.
John,
And I think I don't know why this is
Well, hold it. Would that count for you, John?
What's that?
If we put a private detective on you, would find you kept doing something wrong.
Listen, I go to
Come on,
confession.
you're the bishop of the podcast. You need to watch what you're saying here.
I go to confession. I go to confession one place only. All right, Mark.
Aye, well, aye.
That's it.
You're no answering then.
What's that? What was the question? No, what was the question?
If we put a private detective on you, would we find something wrong?
Well, if you wouldn't find something wrong, I wouldn't need to go to confession and I go monthly. There's your answer.
Just got to keep the ecumenical questions right here, Bishop. You know what I mean?
So
You definitely got word of toilet paper, word of the toilet paper week or something. You know, like you're coming out with a lot of big words here now. Like
ecumenical.
it's coming out with them all. Plus the other side of it, John, as well.
Kid, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's an ecumenical battle.
Aye, an ecumenical. Actually, I can't say it now.
I think we've had a couple of ecumenical
Ones as well.
pluses
And
under
then
on the food bank collection. We've had a couple of date jumpers.
Aye. Fair play to a couple
Fair
of Rangers
play,
fans.
exactly.
Aye.
Exactly right. I doff my cap to them.
Couple of
Well done,
Rangers
fair play to them.
Aye.
Scrambled egg and
Scrambled egg and
and
McParlin.
In fact, I tell you,
Parley.
see, after I remember, I digress here, but I remember, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this, but years ago there was like a surplus of food in Europe. There was like a butter mountain. Do you remember that? A butter mountain.
And a milk one.
And a milk lake and a butter mountain. Remember that?
Just fucked it away. It's run it all away.
And the St Vincent de Paul in our parish were charged with distributing it, and the Salvation Army wouldn't work with us, right? They wouldn't work with the St Vincent de Paul, and that always stuck in my throat, like And the other day, they see when parlaying and scrambled egg done that. I sent the Salvation Army 50 quid, right? Because my daddy used to say to us, they don't ask your religion, John, when they're lifting you off the street.
Aye.
And so I sent them 50 pounds. So any money we got, for the money that we got for parlaying and scrambled egg, the Salvation Army got it back.
Fair play.
See, when it comes to charity and stuff like that, I don't see religion.
100%.
But I just
Your
don't get. I'm not getting
your
into
food
the
bank.
poppy stuff. That's a bit different. But just
Your-
normal. If you're giving money to normal guys, you might be. I mean, I must walk by as I see guys at chapel that I know the stuff I'm giving to the food bank that are helping out. I don't want a pat in the back. Apart from me, my mum, about maybe 2 or 3 guys at the chapel and the priest, nobody knows what we do, John. Nobody knows at the chapel that's me. I'm not getting pats in the back and well done, mate. I don't take anything like that. Honestly, I've got no interest in it or nothing. There's about 5 or 6. No, there's about 5 or 6 folk at the chapel that know that's me that does all that. But I'm not looking for any pats in the back or stuff like that. I try and help. I mean, I've been in the bones of my arse, you know that yourself, and I was arguing with stuff about benefits and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You just help out who you can and when you can. That's the way I look at life.
So why'd you put up that big poster saw in the bus stop that time?
Unless you're Rod Stewart. Unless you're Rod Stewart.
I'm sure when
it's Rod Stewart's a cunt.
I'm sure when
I've got to put that in every single podcast we do at one point. Aye, that's for news. That's for news shout.
I'm sure when there's families rocking up at the Hamilton Food Bank, they'll know.
That'll be the password. That'll be the password. Walk up, say Rod Stewart's a cunt. They'll get fucking big parcels of meat in that.
I'm sure it'll no matter.
Create a buck fast.
I'm sure it'll no matter whether they're wearing Rangers tabs or Celtic tabs. Eh?
No.
As long as you say that about Rod Stewart, they're all good.
That's a word that doesn't translate very well with your Irish friends here, Mark. Do you know that?
But Rod Stewart?
No. The C word.
The C word? How?
Because, well, I've had experience of working with Irish companies for that. There's a wee bit of I don't think some of our Irish friends didn't appreciate that term could be used endearingly. In fact, we've had to explain it to them a couple of times on site and say to them, one I mind would to say to them, because of massive offence taken at it.
Actually, Americans are like that, I know.
But this is Scottish and Irish, and we'd to say to them, "No, look, wait a minute here. You can be a good cunt, right? You can be a good cunt. You can be a daft cunt. None of them are bad. You know that. You would know that, man. None of them are bad, eh? You can be a daft cunt. You can be a silly cunt. You can be a stupid cunt." Then one of the Irish boys says, "What if you're just a cunt?" So, that's totally fucking different.
100%.
That's it.
That translate terms?
100%, yeah.
I can mind I said to my dad, "Nah, here, I was only a wee boy, and I was like, here, Dad, what's a cunt?" You're like, "What? What's a cunt?" I heard somebody saying it earlier. He took me into the room, my mum's lying sleeping, dragged the quilt down, pointed it between her legs and said, "See that, son? That's a fanny." And then pointed at her face and said, "See that? That's a fucking cunt."
It's actually a word I don't use. I can use the other. I can use the F and the B word, but it's one I tend to try and not use.
A lady's front. But I say to you, didn't I, John? A lady's front bottom.
A lady's front. See that? That's one of the ones you could just pin something against the one. See you're a lady. You're a fucking lady's front bottom.
No, where that comes from. No, one of the first times I seen that. Is it follow? You've got all these kind of weird things that see, like we've got things that are banned for the club, banned out the hold on there, an arsehole there. See we've got all these kind of words, they've got all these words that are banned, the filters take out, and it's like I don't know what it is on there, but they've got like instead of like Tarrier, it comes up terrorist support and scum. It seems to be a concept. It's like ladies front bottom. You know what I mean? The fault in some of it's really funny when you read it. Do you know what I mean?
Like, can you predict the fella's come down there calling us a nonce club and he names himself Ass Kisser? I mean, man, change your name before you call someone a nonce club, like, you know.
Is that an infiltrator?
I'm off there, Mark, right?
Right,
I'm
you're
off
off,
there.
Paul, right? No bother.
Yeah.
I'm going, that's us. We've been on for 2 hours. I'll wind up anyway, lads. Lads, you'll get to your beds and that. Right, good to have you back, Paul, right, bud? That's you. Another wee jagging, you'll be fit as fuck for next Sunday. Right, just wind up then, turn John, aye.
Yep, no worries, boys.
Aye, right. Thanks very much for coming on, Ter and John. Always brilliant for the two of you to come on. Thanks again to Paul. Everybody in the live chat. I mean, we've got 44 people still watching us. That's crazy numbers. We really, really appreciate it. Remember, if you can hit the like button, if you know how, please leave a message, a comment. It helps you get up the algorithm and that. And if you can afford anything, once again, please give somebody with food bank appeal. Just come up to Christmas, try and help people that are needing it. Here, lads. Thanks very much. Good night and God bless every single one of you. Good night. Night.